welcome to X-Play. Beats the hell out of watching King of the Hill reruns. I'm Morgan Webb.
I'm Adam Sessler. We're coming to you from the G4 Studios in Los Angeles.
All right, coming up, we've got the latest on DC Universe Online, the MMO that lets you fight alongside your favorite DC superheroes. Blair Herter talks with comic icons Jim Lee, Jeff Johns, and Marv Wolfman.
Plus, we've got your first look at a new trailer for Splinter Cell Conviction. Sam Fisher does not look good, like he's in a bad mood.
Because his game got pushed to 2010.
I gotta do it.
Yeah. Then we're going to review the follow-up to one of the most successful games of all time. It is Wii Sports Resort.
And later, find out what big changes are coming to your Xbox 360 in just a few weeks. I hope you get to pay for Avatar clothing, because that would be great.
Wouldn't it just be fantastic? All that plus a review of Splosion Man for the Xbox Live Arcade.
And Battlefield 1943 tips from C-Squared.
But first, it is time for People in Tights. Adam in Tights, no?
Yes, no, you don't want to see that. Comic-Con, it's the perfect place to show off DC Universe Online. It's a superhero MMO, which is kind of the nerd version of mixing chocolate and peanut butter.
Man Blair was there to get the latest on the game, even going so far as to moderate the Comic-Con panel.
Yep, he talks with the developers and some industry legends in this all-access look.
I'm at San Diego Comic-Con 2009. We're minutes away from the DC Universe Online panel. Obviously, huge names in the comic industry. Jeff Johns, Jim Lee, Marv Wolfman, they are attached to this game creatively. But without these two men here, there wouldn't actually be a video game. Jens and Wes, thank you guys so much for being here. Really appreciate it. Can you kind of tell us what's going to be unveiled here today?
Yeah, we're really going to be talking about Star Labs. It's kind of a big instance we have, an adventure zone that we have in Metropolis. It's a really cool place where a lot of wacky things happen, so it gives us a lot of opportunities to tell really cool stories and have a lot of really cool gameplay for players.
What we're doing is coming up with all the concepts, all the ideas, and then what the people at Sony are doing, which is incredible. They'll take a paragraph that I may write and then explode it out into 40 missions. But I've given them the DC content, and they're taking it and making it this great game.
How challenging was it to pick your favorite kid for these first couple years?
You know, honestly, it's pretty easy because the universe is so large that we can't possibly do everything, in the first release of the game. So really what we wanted to focus on was that pristine version of the DCU that everybody, knows and loves, and something that, people who might not be the hardcore comic fans can really relate to.
You're not telling the story in the same way, but you're going for the same effect. You make a lot of changes to fit it into an MMO, but Superman will still do things only the way Superman would, not like Batman. This is an action game like you've never seen in an MMO because there's not going to be a lot of wandering around in the beginning. You're going to be stuck right into it.
I'm here with Jim Lee, a man whose fingers are magical in their artistic abilities, and
well, last night.
Massages. Take that where you want to, people. How challenging was it to take this 70-plus years of content and make Star Labs a reality?
That one's actually pretty easy. The less reference there is, the easier our jobs are because we're just making it up all from scratch. So Star Labs was a breeze. The trick is really trying to make that different from like the JLA Watchtower, because it's it has a lot of similar kind of technology inside. But I think we did a good job of kind of fusing some like natural organic trees and water and stuff into the environment, which you don't have on the moon with the JLA Watchtower.
You think the comic book, the traditional comic book world is going to start to seep in here and vice versa?
Yeah, you'll see a lot of the major storylines, and I can't talk about which ones, but you'll see a lot of the major storylines over the years kind of adapted into this game, which is part of the fun.
Yeah.
Such as there is a big Doomsday storyline. Can't really get into what you have to do with Doomsday, but it's not just fighting him and taking him down. There's a lot more to it.
DC Universe Online is slated for release in the first half of 2010. Take a deep breath, kiddies. I'll keep you updated on it.
Jeff Johns.
We're going to get to that in a second. Patience.
Does he use titanium pencils? Look how built he is.
He's a very muscular man, yes.
All right, every year video games seem to have a bigger and bigger presence at Comic-Con. You guys saw this firsthand last weekend. Okay, Blair, I know you're talk about the DC Universe panel.
Yeah, it was awesome, but like as you guys know, for weeks in advance, I was so nervous to moderate this panel because, these are guys that know everything about the universe, so I didn't want them to be like, the JLA Watchtower doesn't have test tubes, it has beakers. I didn't want to say anything dumb, but the game is, as you know, super ambitious, but as I learned from this panel and obviously from this package, it's in very capable hands. I mean, Jeff Johns and Jim Lee and Marv Wolfman. So I think content-wise, the game is going to be a pretty cool game. It's so ambitious, though. It's going to be interesting to see if they can actually pull it off on the development side.
Well, it seems like people who don't necessarily make games for a living, they imagine all these great things they want in the game, but they don't understand actual execution and issues that are going to go along with that. So
There's some guy at SOE going, no!
I don't know how we're going to do a multi. This is crazy. So we'll see.
Yeah, and you did, of course, the Gears panel. And how was your experience on that?
Oh no, it was great. It was neat to see like all these people representing different aspects of Gears. And one of the things I really wanted to point out is Gears 1 came out in 2006, and we're already at novels, comic books, and talks of production on a movie. That's rather impressive. And as Cliffy said, quite humbly, it's not like we didn't think about this when we were designing the game in the first place.
Well, no, I mean, they started to manufacture that universe as soon as the game came out. I mean, they knew it was going to be a big hit. They knew it was going to be popular, and they wanted to make sure the fans had enough.
And they kept it really fluid so that there is room to expand. It's not as there's not all this minutia that I think sometimes can cause other game properties like, say, Halo to become a stumbling block you try to condense into a 2-hour movie.
Right. Also, I think you deserve some applause, by the way, because you did an amazing job moderating that panel. And I think it should be pointed out that a lot of these panels were smallish, like 500, 750 people. The Gears panel had at least 2,000 people. They had to move it to a different hotel.
Wow.
It had its own separate ballroom. I mean, people are so into this universe. It's unbelievable.
No pressure, right?
No, not at all. I just think of me wearing my underpants, and it's fine.
Hey, me too. Thank you for right now.
So there was also the Captain Corks My Blaster Runs Hot contest. What did you think with the weapon and how it was integrated into the game?
I thought the weapon was sweet. I mean, one of my favorite. I like any sort of like whirling saw blade weapon anyway in any game.
Right.
But what I liked most was the guy, how humble the dude was when he won. He was like, I can't believe that my weapon made it.
Well, it's really, and if you looked at even the final 5, this one was clearly designed by someone who understood how things work in the Ratchet universe. It's just like, yes, that could easily be in one of these games.
Right.
I mean, I like the bubble one, and of course there's the quirky one where you have small quarks that eat people, which sounded a little bit nasty.
Yeah.
How are they going to get that many? If you have a screen full of enemies already that you got to take down, and now you got to make all of these like 20 more little Captain Quarks that are decimating the population.
Exactly.
I mean, you're going to start to run out of.
That's a lot of render.
It's a lot of stuff going on.
It sounds awesome.
It sounds awesome. Okay, so we also talked to Tim Schafer, Brutal Legend. They had their big Guar show. How was that? I hear it was messy.
Yes, but if you didn't know that going to it, shame on you.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely had to know, but it was a very talked about event at Comic-Con.
I gotta say, the look on Tim's face, he clearly was having the time of his life. He was.
Yes.
It's his game, and he has his metal gods there in front of him. I think the photo with him and Abby Happy that popped up online pretty much,
awesome.
sold that thing perfectly.
I think that photo is just indicative of Comic-Con. It's like these are massive nerds who were ostracized their entire lives, who are now the most powerful beings at these conventions. Like a guy like Tim Schafer is living the dream, man. And I think that's what it's all about.
He's living the dream, covered in Caro syrup and red dye. All right, Sam Fisher also made a surprise appearance at Comic-Con, and I'm not talking about a fat guy wandering around with night vision goggles.
But that was surprising.
Ubisoft unveiled a new toilet-smashing trailer for Splinter Cell Conviction, and here's your first look.
This doesn't stop until you tell me. I used to want them to forget about me. It made sense at the time. I lost my daughter. I'd seen the agency I gave my life to turn against me. They're sure as hell gonna remember me now.
I know what you're thinking, and no, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this shirt either. When X-Play returns, find out if Wii Sports Resort is worth your hard-earned cash. $50 to be exact. Plus, we'll review Splosion Man, the new Xbox Live Arcade game from the creators of The Maw. Then Programmer T-Squared shows you his strategies for scoring big in Battlefield 1943. And we'll run down all of the earth-shattering changes coming to the Xbox 360 dashboard. So stay with us.
What's coming up next, Blair?
This seems familiar. Did you have a beard the last time we had this conversation?
No. What's next? Splosion Man?
You're going to have lunch and then dinner. Welcome back to X-Play. This August, 4 of the world's best online poker players hit Vegas in G4's newest original series, 2 Months, 2 Million. These former high school brainiacs will pool their own money and attempt to do, well, what the title says. They're going to try to win $2 million in 2 months. That is, unless money, booze, and all-you-can-eat buffets get in the way. Trust me, they do. Do not miss G4's new original series, 2 Months, 2 Million, which premieres August 16th only on G4. You can check out all the action online at 2m2mm.com for exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and footage of Playboy Playmates visiting the set. Morgan Webb, that makes sense.
That's how you throw it off to me right there?
That's right.
That is?
You're welcome.
Because there's no other porn on the internet. Next month, a special day will come, a seminal moment in your life, one you will talk about for years to come. The Xbox 360 dashboard is getting an update. Maybe I'm overselling it a little bit, but there are some pretty nifty features like games on demand. Find out more in this preview.
Last year, Microsoft revolutionized the way we interact with our 360s by introducing the new Xbox experience. In August, they're set to do it all over again with the first major update to NXE. So, what can we expect? Here's the rundown. This time around, achievements are center stage with new features that allow for easier in-game achievement browsing, as well as the addition of a profile panel displaying not only achievements, but also games completed. One great way to rack up those achievements is through multiplayer, which will be easier than ever to organize with new sortable friends lists and the ability to immediately rejoin your party if you somehow lose your connection. The library of games available to 360 users will be bigger than ever thanks to the new Games on Demand feature, which will provide access to full versions of popular 360 titles online. If you're thinking you'll have to make room on your hard drive for all that goodness, think again. Titles downloaded through the Live Arcade and Games on Demand will be permanently linked to your Xbox Live account, allowing you to re-download them at any time for free following your initial purchase. This year's dashboard update contains a number of notable enhancements for your online movie watching pleasure, and no, you are not going to start receiving achievement points for watching movies. You will, however, be able to browse the Netflix Instant Library from the comfort of your dashboard. Also, in a win for weird social interactions, you can now gather in a virtual theater with the avatars of your friends and watch them watch a movie together. They even get popcorn. Bizarre. If your avatar is going to be socializing, you'll want to make sure they look their best. This update has that covered with new downloadable branded apparel and props that your avatar can carry with them wherever they go, and by wherever, I mean your dashboard in the virtual theater. So much goodness in one update. The only problem? We still have to wait until August 11th, when the new Xbox experience hits home. Now, if you think games become too complicated with needlessly frustrating controls, Splosion Man for the Xbox Live Arcade is definitely worth a look. It's a 2D platformer with a beyond simple control scheme. You run and press any button to explode. That's it. See why it works in our review.
The title suggests, this game is all about one man, one Splosion Man, who, after getting loose from his confinement area, wreaks havoc in an underground research facility and encounters an ever-increasing number of challenging puzzles and deadly enemies.
Time to die.
Story-wise, that's all you get. Gameplay-wise, you get a huge variety of leaping and sploding puzzles based on your ability to splode 3 times per leap. Each explosion launches you a certain distance, but you'll come across exploding barrels and fire spouts that can be used to instantly recharge yourself. Using these, you can clear large gaps and pull off ridiculously long combos. Some of the sections are more frustrating than enjoyably challenging, but for the most part, the puzzles are well balanced. Our only serious complaint is with the camera when the perspective shifts. It can screw up your depth perception and often results in pointless deaths. There are 50 levels to conquer in single player and 50 co-op levels for those who prefer to splode in tandem. Splosion Man is a quirky, challenging, stylish platformer with tons of replayability. 4 Splosions out of 5. All right, when Let's Play returns, we can review the follow-up to one of the biggest games ever, plus pro tips for Battlefield 1943. Okay, we'll be right back.
Yeah, I want to thank Sony Online and DC for running out of time to find a moderator and ending up with me.
I know, bad planning, right?
Thanks, guys.
That's weird. Welcome back to XPlay. Even though it comes packed in with the Wii for free, there is no denying that Wii Sports is one of the biggest and most successful games of all time. After years of gutter balls, tennis elbow, and broken TVs, there's finally a full-on sequel. But is Wii Sports Resort really worth $50? Well, find out in our review. We are in the midst of a slow, scorching hot summer. And what better way to cool off than to head over to Woohoo Island for some beach resort fun. Wii Sports Resort has finally made its way to your living room with all of its newfangled Wii Motion Plus control goodness. This follow-up to the hit game that came with your Wii more than doubles the amount of activities. There is a good mix of old and new here, featuring upgrades to classics like bowling, which introduces the all-new spin control mode, and exciting new events like swordplay, archery, and the physically exhausting cycling and canoeing. Speaking of exhausting, I think the wakeboarding announcer has had one too many energy drinks. This is more than just a demo piece to showcase the Wii Motion Plus's capabilities. Nintendo has put a lot of effort into balancing precision with good old-fashioned fun. You'll have a good time playing solo, but the real excitement begins when a couple of friends join in on the action. And this goes for all of the events. Just like life, the more people you add, the better the party. On the downside, casual players might have a tough time adapting to the precision controls. Thankfully, Wii Sports Resort does a great job of pasting instruction manuals and tutorials all over the game for you casual types out there, so a little practice should do the trick. Even though this sequel to a free game costs $50 and the controls need to recalibrate from time to time, Wii Sports Resort offers way more games. New tech that delivers a better and more well-defined experience, and the Motion Plus packed in as an added bonus. Nintendo's Wii Sports Resort sinks a 5 out of 5.
There are many ways to die in Battlefield 1943. Suicide bombers, planes that literally fall from the sky, air raids. It can get frustrating real quick. But with these tips from Pro Gamer T-Squared, you'll be at the top of your squad in no time.
What's up, everybody? T-Squared here. I have the Battlefield 1943 tips that'll have you fragging like a pro. So if you're playing Battlefield 1943, you know the action gets crazy fast. When you run out of bullets, you have 2 options. If you're in close, switch to the melee weapon and give them one right across the face. The reload animations take forever. When you switch to the melee weapon, though, it comes up swinging. If you're fighting further away, you can reload while you run. Hit reload, start sprinting, and when you bring your gun back, the clip will be full. One note, even though you're not going through the animation anymore, you're still reloading while you're sprinting. So if you run for just a second and then pull up your weapon, you won't be able to shoot for the rest of the time it takes to reload. It's better to be running than reloading like a sitting duck. Quack, quack. Spam grenades, spam grenades, spam grenades. In Battlefield 1943, These guys respawn every 5 seconds. So every chance you get, chuck those suckers across to the enemy. You have infinite grenades, so why would you sit on them? When you can hurl them at the enemy and get a free kill. Since you have an arm that Superman would be jealous of, you can spam from a far way back. Follow these tips and you'll be king of the battlefield.
Coming up on Next Play, throw up the horns because we'll be talking metal with the brains behind brutal legend Tim Schafer. Oh yeah, and Earthlings beware, because Guar shows up too. Plus, we've got a hands-on demo of Section 8, the sci-fi shooter that says goodbye to spawn camping forever. Then we'll preview The Saboteur, Pandemic's unique World War II thriller that'll have you liberating Paris in style and taking out as many Nazis as possible. And if you want to make things blow up good in Red Faction Guerrilla, we've got a cheat that'll give you an epic weapon of mass destruction. All that and more, don't miss it.
Sports Dessert, 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I know. We get cranky and then we're like, oh yeah, look.
Oh, fine. It's
It
a
works
good
well.
game. Whatever.
Okay.
Up
Up next, Attack of the Show.
Attack of the Show.
It's a good show.
I guess.